Hi, this is Alex from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book and record to play. Today's book is The Pink Panther Numbers Caper for 1981. So let's get started.
This is your Pink Panther read-along book. Every time you hear this chime, it means that you should turn the page in your storybook. Now, we are ready to begin our adventure into the land of fun. Open your book, and we will start the story of the Pink Panther's Numbers Caper. Remember, when you hear the chime, turn the page. It was a beautiful day at Cape Canaveral. A bright sun shone in the blue sky. People from all over the world had come today to see the launching of the United States' new rocket to outer space. Also in the crowd was the famous Pink Panther and the inspector. They too had come to watch the liftoff. It was almost launch time. A shout came from inside the control room.
"Oh my!"
shouted the scientist.
"We will have to cancel the launch. How terrible!"
"What is wrong?" asked the others.
"Well, everyone knows you can't launch a rocket without a countdown, and you can't have a countdown without the numbers 1 through 10. You will never believe it, but someone has stolen the numbers."
"Stolen the numbers? Mon Dieu, what a plot! Surely this is the work of spies," exclaimed the inspector. "Fear not, I will find them for you. Am I not the world's greatest detective?" On the other side of the launch site, the Pink Panther had already begun his search. He started with the number 1. What has only one? Donuts have one hole. People have one nose, and a car has one horn. "No," thought the Panther, "I'll never get anywhere this way. Too many things have the number 1. The inspector was having a hard time, too. He was looking for the number 2. "Very interesting, this number 2, said the inspector. "A book has 2 covers. A pizza has 2 ends, and a cat has 2 ears. My goodness, this 2 is a popular number." While the inspector was searching for the 2, the Pink Panther was looking for the 3. "Round," thought the Panther, "but it can't roll away because it is flat on one side. It must be nearby. Now, what has the number 3? A triangle has 3 sides. A tricycle has 3 wheels, and a trio has 3 singers. Perhaps, thought the Panther, 4 would be easier. Lots of things have 4. A square has 4 sides. A car has 4 wheels. A table has 4 legs, and so does a dog. A year has 4 seasons. It seems that 4 is a very popular number, too," he thought. The inspector, meanwhile, was looking for 5. But there were 5s everywhere. Each hand has 5 fingers, a star has 5 points, a foot has 5 toes. "I'll try 6, said the inspector. "That should be easier. Half a dozen eggs are 6. I had a dog once that had 6 puppies." "Gadzooks," said the inspector. "The higher the numbers go, the harder it is to find them. This is so mystery." The Pink Panther was having the same problem with the number 7. A week has 7 days, and there are 7 seas. But after that, he couldn't think of anything else. "I'll move on to 8, thought the Panther. "That is bound to be easier. An octopus has 8 legs, and, well, even 8s are hard to find." The inspector was right. The higher the number, the harder it was to find. "How about 9, thought the inspector. "We know that there are 9 planets. And they said that cats have 9 lives. But that was all he could think of. 10, thought the panther. That's a hard one, too. A dollar has 10 dimes. A dime has 10 pennies. By now, it was becoming clear that this was not the way to find the missing numbers. Someone had better think of a new plan, or the numbers will be lost forever. The search for the missing numbers continued, but still the numbers had not been found. The Pink Panther and the inspector had looked high and low, and though they had found lots of examples, they had not found the numbers. "I've got it!" exclaimed the inspector. "Every crime has its witnesses. We will question everyone who was around at the time of the robbery, and in that way we will find our suspect. Ah, this plan is perfection, no?" So, the inspector and the Pink Panther began their hunt. First to be questioned was Dr. Werner von Beeker. "Tell me, Dr. Beeker," began the inspector, "exactly what were you doing at the time the numbers vanished?"
That's easy.
said the doctor.
I was eating, just sitting in my office having lunch. I had a hamburger, french fries, and a glass of milk. But surely you don't think that I would steal the numbers, Inspector?
"You can never tell," replied the inspector. "We must examine all the clues before we decide who is guilty." The next witness was General Buttons, the head of the rocket project. "Now, tell me, General, what were you doing when the numbers were stolen?" asked the inspector. "Very well, Inspector. I'll tell you exactly what I was doing," said the general. "I was talking to my wife on the telephone. After that, I checked over a financial report. It was exactly 10:30 in the morning. I know, because I saw the clock on my wall. Any further questions?" "No, thank you, General," said the inspector. "You have been most helpful." The Pink Panther had begun to question the next person, Mrs. Grassley, the gardener.
What was I doing when the numbers were stolen?
Said Mrs. Grassley.
I'll tell you what I was doing. The same thing I always do. I was tending to the flowers, watering the lawn, trimming the trees and bushes, and pulling up weeds. Certainly you don't think that I took the numbers.
She exclaimed. Just when it seemed that the numbers would never be found, the Pink Panther and the inspector made a surprise announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen," said the inspector, "I have an important announcement. After questioning all the witnesses, Mr. Panther and I believe we have found the person who stole the numbers. A person who is sitting right now in this very room. Let us review the evidence. Dr. Beeker, the scientist, told us he was eating lunch. Everyone knows that eating requires no numbers, so he is clearly not the thief. Mrs. Grassley, the gardener, was watering the flowers. We all know that you don't need numbers for that. So, she is innocent as well. That leaves only one person who could have taken the numbers," said the inspector. "This is outrageous," shouted the general. "Surely you don't think that I stole the numbers?" "I do not think it," said the inspector. "I know it. You told us so yourself. Try and remember what you said, General. You were talking on the telephone. How could you have dialed the phone without the numbers in your possession? You were checking a financial report. That would be impossible unless you had a collection of numbers at hand. But it was the clock that gave you away. I have never heard of anyone who could tell the time without numbers. It was elementary, General, that you were the thief who stole the numbers. All right, shouted the General. I confess, I stole the numbers, but I don't regret it. Numbers, numbers, numbers. If you had to work with them every day like I do, you would steal them too. Besides, I was never very good at math. Here they are. Here are the numbers. You can have them back. I'm sick of them anyway. The General handed the inspector a box full of numbers and was led away. Well, said the inspector, now that we have the numbers back, we can complete the launch of the rocket. He handed the numbers to the scientists. All right, everybody stand back, said the scientist. The rocket is about to take off. Let the countdown begin. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff! As the big rocket soared high into the blue sky, everyone cheered for the Pink Panther and the inspector, who had saved the day by solving the caper of the missing numbers.
So that was the Pink Panther number caper from 1981. So please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a groovy day. And our next book will be The Bearstein Bears, How to Get Along at School.